Robert Birch is a professional artist. He works in glass, metal, paint, and other materials. His art extends beyond traditional forms as he experiments and collaborates with different people across the globe. He's active in recreational activities such as rock climbing, skiing, snowboarding, skating, and surfing, among others. He often attends motorcycle rallies and tours the country. And he's built a tiny house. How much of your life is your art? And how much of your art is your life?
It was a trip to make this thing. Yeah, it's just like it's those kids that hop trains, you know. Just I don't know. There's just so many different varieties of life, and yeah. And this sort of ties in more with like the being a career artist in the 21st century now, because everything can be documented so easily. I think how you live your life means as much as the art that you make, more or less. Like David Cho's a good example. He's like, this badass graffiti artist, but he's insane. Like he's down there like riding tanks in Iraq and like banging porn stars and like all this crazy stuff. So it's like his artwork's cool, but his life is cool too. It's just like Hunter S. Thompson. Like his life as a composition is so crazy, and then his writing is good too. So to like have those two things like go together is very important. I think that's why
definitely
I spend time climbing up rocks or trying to whatever go backcountry snowboarding, things like that. Like because you can't have crazy art, I don't think, and be like a boring person. Like you can be brilliant in your own mind, and then like your work will sort of speak for itself in that way. But I think it's more because a rock star is an entertainer. Like let's not like beat around the bush. Like you're entertaining people, and why wouldn't your artwork's entertaining people too? But I think your life, because you have more freedom, ultimately entertains people in the same way.
So in a lot of ways, your life becomes the art piece, and the things that you make or do or become like the relics,
right,
that you leave behind.
Fucking deep. That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to look at it. I think that's exactly what we're looking for as far as what freelancers are today. I think or have always been, like the beatnik generation, or
Totally.
Just like nomadic people and vagabonds, you know, like people are trying to make statements like Banksy and like you said, David Cho. Those are all good people that I look up to too, as well. So.
Yeah, it's romanticizing it. Like, you know, the beatniks, like, yeah, man, they're just fucking driving around, like, doing speed, like, but it's romanticized in a way, which you guys are doing too, which kind of makes it more appealing to the masses.
I think it depends on what your aesthetic is and what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think the craft is important, and so is the fine art realm. But I do think people prefer making the craft over the fine art. It's just what they want because they enjoy the fine crafted objects and stuff.
Totally. But talent is abundant, and like technical skill is abundant. But it's just like every other thing. Like skateboarding or rock climbing, you can make anyone like do it. You know, like you can train someone to make a beautiful Reddit show. But like thinking now you have the tools, like now you have the skill set, now what happens next? I think a lot of people just start spinning their wheels and making it in every color, which pigeonholes glass as like a craft-based work, whereas there's like only a few people that have broken out of that, like William Morris, like Martin Chihuly, and like Josiah, and then like Howard Ventre, you know, like those people have pushed it to another like level where a lot of glass workers haven't. So I like really admire that type of working style. So like this isn't even like, this is the stuff I'm talking about, pedestal oriented work, but I have stuff that's like 7 feet tall, and you know, like I feel like there's, you know, the more like I'm in a small room, like the bigger like space I get, and the more like, you know, like it's just gonna keep going bigger, and then like having people that care about you and like backers and stuff like that.
It's like the big fish in a big pond concept.
Yeah.
Like the bigger your environment, the larger you can work.
Totally. Yeah. So right now I'm in this small little like, you know, fishbowl, which is fine, you know, to like think about things more. But the more I work with metal, the more I'm like, dude, like there's so much. Like you can get so much crazier with this stuff, and that's why I mean Martin's, you know, undeniably like amazing at putting that stuff on the huge scale, because that is hard. It requires a lot more thinking than just popping it off the punny and flattening the bottom and sticking it on the pedestal. And like, yeah, maybe you got the fancy lines with the cane, but like, man, think bigger. So I think that's like kind of what I'm aiming towards, thinking like glass wise, and it's a rad medium, but there's a lot of rad mediums. So then I just what did I do? I went to Europe for like 4 months, skate tour, and then went up to Sweden and was doing that thing up there with Ulrika. And then I got back, and then I just drove my car here. And I taught high school here for like 8 or 9 months at that same school.
Were you sponsored a little bit for skating as well?
Yeah, I still am, kind of. Yeah. I mean, it's not like a real skateboard company. I mean, it's like, Culinar, bro. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, they flew me over to Spain, and it was like the best time. And so that happened, and then here I am.
What are your goals for the future? Are you thinking about moving to New York, you mentioned. Do you have like a 5-year plan or anything?
No, I have 2-month plans.
2-month plans? Okay.
Yeah, I wanna. A couple. I mean, I want to keep helping the studio here get a little bit better. I want to go to New York because big fish, small pond, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Carbondale's nice, and everyone you can be the best with very little effort. It's like the recreation lifestyle is what's big here. That's what's most important. And there's no sense of social service to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's inherently selfish. Sort of like being a career artist. In a way, it's inherently selfish. So, finding social service type things to do, I think, is more important. 2-month plans, man. Go to Seattle, come back, do a show here, and then go to New York and check it out.
Sweet.
And go from there. Yeah, moving this is an ordeal, but it's tight. Not paying rent is No, I think it's more just a composition because they're the same people in this repeatedly. My friends, Duncan, he's my best friend. There's a picture of him being when we went to high school together, so young. He's we're 15, 16, and then at the very end it's still the same people in it, and then he's whatever, 25 now. So it's just watching all these people you don't really know grow up through this book. If people actually paid attention enough through it, I think that would be, this is just a single piece of work. But it was really hard to go through thousands of pictures, and I'm pretty meticulous with keeping track of them. But having a hard drive crash and losing all these memories sucks. So I wanted also to have it just in hard copy form because when the electricity goes out for the whole world, we'll be out of luck.
That's cool. That's a lot along the same lines or similar lines of what we're trying to do.
Check back in with people as they get older.
Well, that, but just document a lot of our travels and different places that we go and try to bring the reality of how people are living.
You can see more of Robert's work on his website, robertbirchllc.com.